Hi, I'm Bart Herbison, Executive Director of the Nashville Songwriters Association. I'm so jacked up to get to be Sonny Curtis. I got to tell you, Sonny, you're one of my heroes.
Well, thank you.
And we're taping this a few weeks before we did this. You and Hugh Prestwood and Mac Davis, all in the Songwriters Hall of Fame, did a show at the Bluebird that had to be one of my favorite nights of music I ever saw. Y'all were having fun, too. It wasn't just the songs. Y'all had a blast.
We had a great time. It was one of my favorite nights. I love Mac Davis and Hugh both.
Yeah, that was a great night, man.
Yeah.
Well, and I'll tell a little joke. We had just bought this building, and the great Sonny Curtis was coming in. I guess this was 2005 or 6, and it was when the tornado hit right downtown.
Yeah, somewhere in there.
I mean, you walked in the door, and we saw the cloud, and we hit the basement. The next time I saw you, it was a big hailstorm, so you came in today, and I was kind of like... But we're going to talk about Walk Right Back, your great hit for the Everly Brothers. And I had the stupid question, of course I knew this off camera, did you know the Everly Brothers?
I played guitar with the Everly Brothers for about 3 years off and on. The other two Crickets, Jerry Allison and Joe B. Malden, and I were their backup band in 1959 before I got drafted and went into the Army. After I came out of the Army, I played with them for a couple of years.
And of course, Buddy Holly and the Crickets. It's those Crickets. We'll talk more about that. We're going to do 3 different interviews of different songs with Sonny. And they let you have a guitar in the Army?
I did not have a guitar. This was in basic training, but it was a Sunday afternoon, and they had the worst old beat-up Sears Roebuck kind of guitar. Nothing against Sears Roebuck, but their guitars were horrible. I wrote "Walk Right Back" on that guitar on a Sunday afternoon in the Army in basic training.
Where were you?
Fort Ord, California.
Wow.
Yeah.
And you wrote it by yourself?
Yes.
Where'd that idea come from?
Who knows? I had the lick before I went into the Army, and then that Sunday afternoon I put a song to it.
So you played for them after the Army?
I played with them a year before I went in the Army, and then a couple of years after I got out of the Army.
So again, let's talk about this. Is kind of the story behind the song. You had the lick, but what was the idea? You remember?
Gosh, who knows where they come from? People ask me all the time, like, what in the world are you thinking when you write a song? And I think sometime when I'm done that I probably dreamed them, I can't really say.
Were you writing a lot at Basic?
No. I didn't have much time on my hands.
So, do you tell me what you do remember about that day?
What I did with this particular song, I had this. Try not to turn this into too long a story. I fired expert on the rifle range, and about 250 men in our company, and I was one of 6, and they gave us a 3-day pass, and I used my 3-day pass to go down to Los Angeles to visit Jerry Allison, who was living there, the Crickets drummer. And Don and Phil, whom we knew, they were down there studying acting at Warner Brothers. They had just got signed to Warner Brothers. And we went over to see them, and I said, sing that song to Don. And I did, and Don got on the phone. Phil came down, they worked out that great harmony, and then that's how it happened.
Wow. So the melody lick, though, man, you've written you're in the Songwriters Hall of Fame, so many great songs, but did you kind of know that it was special?
No, I didn't. I didn't think about it in those terms. I don't think one ever knows. A lot of songwriters might, but you never know if they're going to be special. When they get to be a hit, then you realize they're sort of special.
So they recorded it right after you. They heard it right after you wrote it.
They heard it right after I wrote it. I left Fort Ord, California, and went to Fort Gordon, Georgia, for my second 8, as they called it, and they recorded it right after I got to Fort Gordon. Then I was sent to France to do my duty. I was in for 2 years, and the day I landed in France, and I believe it was January the 11th of 1960, a long time ago, that was the day they released my song.
And they were huge in Europe. Did you get to hear it over there?
I did hear it. They played it on that big radio station for the armed forces.
Voice of America?
Whatever it is. Yeah, one of those. They played it on there all the time. And
did you get any extra K rations or get out of KP? Because you had to be pretty popular, man.
Well, the Army's not real big on giving you extra stuff.
Now, were you single at the time?
I was, yeah. I was.
So at least did you get an extra dance card or two?
Men, there again, I was in the Army,
Did you ever? But I mean, girls over in France, everybody heard the song. Did they know? Did they know you, the soldier, wrote it? Because you're so humble, you weren't telling people, but I'm sure your buddies did.
My buddies around the base there knew it. I was stationed in Toul, France, up in Alsace-Lorraine, northeastern France, and my buddies all knew, but that's about it.
Did you ever see the Everlys play it live in concert? Of course, you were playing with them after that.
When I played with them, they played it all the time.
And what was the response?
I saw them even when I was sitting in the audience. They always included my song. And
did they tell everybody that this guy wrote it?
Well, when I was picking with them, they would. But when I wasn't in the band, they never mentioned that.
So the song was recorded by a lot of people through the years.
Yes, Anne Murray had a big hit on it, and it was recorded by Andy Williams and Perry Como and various other ones.
Well, I got to tell you, I went to YouTube. I just wanted to hear it again, and it had been a while. And I watched Phil and Don do it. What magic.
They nailed it, I'll tell you.
They sure did. Well, let's hear your version of it. That's the story behind the song this week. Sonny Curtis, Walk Right Back.
I want you to tell me why you walked out on me. I'm so lonesome every day. I want you to know that since you walked out on me, nothing seems to be the same old way. Think about the love that burns within my heart for you. The good times that we had before you went away. Oh, me. Walk right back to me this minute. Bring your love to me, don't send it. I'm so lonesome every day.
Sonny Curtis, Walk Right Back, for the Tennessean and Tennessean.com. Awesome. All right. Hi, this is Bart Herbison, Executive Director of the Nashville Songwriters Association. We're with the legendary Hall of Fame songwriter Sonny Curtis. Buddy Holly and the Crickets, you were one of the Crickets.
I was one of the Crickets. I still am, though we have retired. We've been retired about a year and a half. I was in Buddy's first group called the Three Tunes. We came to Nashville when I was a mere lad at 18 in 1956 and recorded at Bradley's Barn. And those records didn't do very well until after he made it big with the Crickets. But that's how I got mixed up with Buddy Holly and then the Crickets. I joined back up. I left the group when the Crickets went out the first time, and then I joined back up 3 or 4 months before Buddy died.
Yeah, what a loss. But I just want people to know that you're part of that amazing history that really changed music. It did. Every songwriter wants one of two kinds of songs. you'd love to have a big Christmas song hit. Because once every quarter, every year, the check's going to be nice. The other one is not just a TV theme song, but on one of the great iconic TV shows. And you did that. You wrote the theme, Love Is All Around, for the Mary Tyler Moore Show, and you sang it.
I did sing it as well, yeah.
Now, was that a song that you had before, or did you write it for the show?
I wrote it for the show. It all happened in one day, and I owe getting the deal to Doug Gilmore, a real good friend of mine who lives here in Nashville now. He was in L.A. working for the Williams Price Agency. They managed Mary Tyler Moore. He called me one day about 11 and said they're going to do a TV show. This is after the Dick Van Dyke show. Said they're going to do a sitcom with Mary Tyler Moore. Would you like a shot at the theme song? I said, why, sure. And so at lunch, his lunch break, he dropped off like a 4-page format of what the show was about. Not a lot of information, but just described what it was going to be about. And I called him back a couple of hours later, and I said, who do I sing this to?
You wrote it in a couple of hours?
Yeah, he sent me over to see a guy named James L. Brooks, who was the executive producer of the show, who later produced things like Terms of Endearment and As Good as It Gets and things like that. And we went into this. He was a little bit cold. He said, we're not near to the stage where we need a theme song yet. So he said, but I'll listen to what you got. And we went into this big room. It was just empty, had no furniture.
Now, what town is this?
We're talking about Studio City in L.A., the Valley in California, where this was out at, actually, where it was when you see gun smoke, all those big buildings, the Quonset hut-looking buildings, that's where this was. Anyway, he had a couple of ironback chairs sent in, and I sat down and I sang him the Mary Tyler Moore Show, the theme, Love Is All Around was the name of the song. And before I left that afternoon, there was a black telephone on the floor. He picked up the phone and had some people come in, and then he had some more people come in. I sang it about 10 times, and he said, okay, I need a recorder, cassette recording machine. He said, I need to take this to Minneapolis with me this weekend. And so I had begun to feel pretty confident by that
I think by time number 8, I'd be going, all right.
I was feeling, I must tell you how dumb I was at the time. I mean, I don't think I'd do this now, but they wanted to get someone else to sing it, you know. And I said, if you don't let me sing it, you don't get the song. So that's
good for you. Now, this is personal, and you don't have to answer it. It works both ways. You can do a kind of work for hire, or they can pay you royalties and residuals. Which way did that work for you?
They paid me royalties and residuals.
All right.
And something else that was very fortunate is Doug Gilmore that I mentioned earlier, Jerry Allison, the drummer of the Crickets, and we published it. We started our own publishing company, and for some reason or another at that particular time, that was the summer of 1970, they hadn't quite caught on, you know, that that publishing was all that big a deal.
Right.
So we published it, and we actually just sold it last year. Sold a copyright last year because it you know, there's a lot of management going on that you have to do. So,
but still, I mean, it's just such an iconic part of American history. And I can see her with the hands in the pocket and the coat out there looking around and the song playing. And you got to be honest, we all were in love with Laura Petrie.
Oh, man.
Did you get to meet her?
Oh, yeah.
Tell me about that.
Times, yeah.
Tell me about that.
Oh, the first time I met her was the night, it was September 19th of 1970, the first time they aired the Mary Tyler Moore Show. A guy named Alan Burns, who, along with James L. Brooks, was the executive producer, he had a party at his house with all the cast and everybody involved in it. And Louise, my wife, and I were invited, and we went to the show. And of course, Mary was there, and they had televisions everywhere, and we watched the show the first time it aired, and that's the first time I met Mary. And,
Wow.
But I met her on other occasions. Once in New York, Nick at Night had a big party for her at the Waldorf Astoria, and they had me come up and sing the song.
That's awesome, Sonny.
So, there were advertisers, 850 advertisers out in the audience, and I got on stage with my guitar and sang the song.
Well, we're going to ask you to do it again here in a second. What a great part of America's culture, from a great songwriter, a fabulous guy. I'm just glad you got residuals and you own that publishing, Sonny Curtis. This week, the story behind the song, Love Is All Around, theme to the Mary Tyler Moore Show, Hall of Fame songwriter Sonny Curtis for the Tennessean and Tennessean.com.
Who can turn the world on with her smile? Who can take a nothing day and suddenly make it all seem worthwhile? Well, it's you, girl, and you should know it. With each glance and every little movement you show it. Love is all around, no need to waste it. You can have the town, why don't you take it? You're gonna make it after all. Love is all around, why don't you take it all? You're gonna make it after all. You're gonna make it after all.
Great, man. Awesome. Hi, I'm Bart Herbison, Executive Director of the Nashville Songwriters Association. And this week, the story behind the song with Hall of Fame songwriter. He was one of Buddy Holly's original band, the Crickets. It's the great Sonny Curtis, and this is a historic song in a lot of ways. It's I Fought the Law, and the law won. You know, so many people have recorded it. I think the Crickets did it first.
Crickets did it first on an album in 1959, end of 1959.
But Buddy's not involved in that. It's just the Crickets, right?
No, but I think I wrote this after Buddy died, perhaps.
Okay.
I can't remember.
Okay.
But,
well, and by the way, aren't you the first rock and roll guy as a Cricket, or one of the bands, they had different names, to ever play a Fender Strat in rock and roll?
Well, I've been told that, and that didn't start with me, but I actually did a documentary for Welsh television one time, and they seem to have that information. I don't know where they got it, but
it makes sense.
So they say I played. It was Buddy's Fender Stratocaster, but those early records over here at Bradley's Barn in 1956, I played Buddy's Fender Strat, and what's really funny is that
I hope they've sent you some free ones.
Oh no, I never got a free Strat.
Fender, I got his address.
But Grady Martin, one of the great all-time guitar players, he played rhythm on that session, and Buddy Harmon, great drummer, he played drums. And a good guitar player as Buddy Holly was, they didn't let him play guitar. I can't imagine what were they thinking. But anyway, what's really funny is, man, I was about 18 at the time, and I just could not wait to get to the studio to show Grady Martin what I had, man. One of the great all-time players. I bet he was really impressed with what I had.
I bet he was. So, tell me about writing I Fought the Law.
Well, I Fought the Law I wrote in my living room out in West Texas one sandstormy afternoon, and I mean, if you know West Texas, the sand blows out there, and that's what I remember about that afternoon. And it took me about 20 minutes, and I don't remember.
20 minutes?
But actually, well, you can tell by listening to the lyrics, it doesn't take a rocket scientist, but yeah, about 20 minutes is all it took.
Do you remember what you were thinking of? What gave you the story that day?
I can't. I sort of wrote it as a country song, and I mentioned that album that we did when we went up to New York City to do In Style with the Crickets. We were just riding along in the car and trying to think of songs because we really needed new songs. And I said, I got this song, and I sang I Fought the Law, and everybody said, hey, man, that's... And so J.I. put kind of those good gunshot rim shots at the front, and I transcribed it into a straight eighth feel, and that's kind of, we recorded it when we got to New York. Well, and on that same album, by the way, was a song called More Than I Can Say, which J.I. and I wrote on the way up there.
Wow.
Which is one of my...
Leo Sayer and a whole lot of other people recorded that.
Yeah.
You know, I told you, I remember the first time I heard that record with Bobby Fuller. What a record, man.
Oh,
and when I first heard that song, and I think great songs do this, at least for me, I can see the movie. And I often wondered if that's what you were thinking of, breaking rocks in the hot sun. It's almost like it could have been an old Cagney prison thing, or it could have been the Old West with the sheriff, you know.
I wish I could think of what I was thinking of. I'd do it again.
Yeah.
But I can't remember what was going through my mind. I just sitting around. I used to just kind of write songs for the fun of it, you know, not even thinking that I was a songwriter particularly. At that particular time, I hadn't written very many songs, and I can't imagine what was on my mind.
Well, I've left it over here. I'm not going to go grab a piece of paper in the middle of the interview, but I was wondering today, how many people recorded that? And I looked it on Wiki. Are you kidding me? Pretty much everybody in the history of rock and roll.
It has been recorded a lot. It's my most important copyright.
You still hear it on the radio today. And you, how did Bobby get the song?
As I understand it, he just heard our record of it.
Is that right?
And as a matter of fact, his arrangement is enhanced a little bit with vocal backgrounds and that sort of stuff, but it follows our arrangement pretty closely. And our arrangement, is a great singer, you may know him, his name's Earl Sinks, he lives here in Nashville, and he sang lead on that. And we recorded at Bell Sound Studios in New York City. And
so you're on the Bobby record?
No, I'm
that's
sorry.
The Crickets.
The Crickets record. Yes, I should have made that clear. Just Earl Sinks, Jerry Allison, Joe B. Malin on upright bass, and I was playing lead guitar. And in those days, man, they didn't have a whole bunch of overdubbing and stuff like that. They just said, "Okay, tape's running," and we started it. And then when it got to the instrumental, I played the instrumental, and when it got to the end, it was over.
Do you remember the first time you heard Bobby's version? Because when I heard it, it was almost like, it just puts me to this day, it's almost like he just got out of jail. He had that emotion for the song.
He did have a lot of emotion, and I don't remember the first time I heard it, but it was kind of a slow starter, actually, when Bobby first put it out. It started out on the West Coast, and I was in L.A. when I heard it, and it kind of worked its way up to the West Coast, all the way up north, and then kind of started going east, and then pretty soon it was, I say pretty soon, it took about, I think, 6 or 8 weeks, but it became a big hit.
And it's one of those songs, his version of it, that keeps getting used in movies, TV, commercial, all over the place. Does that even surprise you sometimes? Because every few months I'm like, there it is again. You know?
It does surprise me in a good way.
When you cash the check.
As a matter of fact, on the Super Bowl 3 or 4 years ago, whenever, a group called Green Day did it with a Pepsi commercial, and
that was cool.
That was a real nice surprise. But I hear it a lot by different artists, and I'm always glad.
Well, my pleasure. Let's hear you do it here in a second. Story behind the song this week with Hall of Fame songwriter Sonny Curtis, I Fought the Law.
Okay, I must say that this is better with a good old honking rock and roll drummer behind you. I got kind of a folk version, which I hope you'll tolerate. Breaking rocks in a hot sun, I fought the law and a law won. I fought the law and a law won. I needed money and I had none. I fought the law and a law won. I fought the law and a law won. I left my baby and I feel so bad. Guess my race is run. But she's the best thing I ever had. I fought the law and a law won. I fought the law and a law won.